Hello and welcome to another episode of Darts in Dublin. We lay our scene this night in the Hermetic Chantry of Dublin, Trinity College, where two Hermetics of the Chantry who haven't actually spoken for quite a while, given they've been operating in different spheres, have come together to actually compare notes and catch up.
No, rather Rory just shows up randomly.
Oh, fine, okay. Well, have randomly showed up, or is it random? Because is there really such a thing as coincidence in Mage? Maybe it was fate.
Especially when several people have good degrees of entropy.
whose fault is
And time.
this random chance meeting?
Pretty good.
Oh, it's been quite a while, Roy. How are you doing?
I'm grand.
Good. I haven't seen you on the Chantry. I'm pleased to see you well.
Yeah. I've had lots of adventures. This place seems pretty quiet. Where is everyone?
Oh, well, I'll probably getting ready for this weekend. Some sort of
What's going on this weekend?
Well, there was a peace agreed with the technocracy some 2 years ago, and I believe they're finally going to hand over the prisoners they've got. So it's a prisoner transfer.
Even the ones the ones we know about.
Presumably. And what state they'll be in mentally is another matter.
Yeah. Are the crafts part of this too?
They haven't been explicitly mentioned, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of them get handed over as well. Who it was? Did you hear Master Crowshaw is no longer with us?
Who?
Master Crowshaw, the head of the Chantry.
Which one was he?
The elder fellow of House Bodhisattva's. He was there when we first met.
Rory just kind of looks blank.
Okay. Well, anyway, he's taken a sideways move to Cambridge.
Oh.
So Magister D'Onofri is now in charge of the Chantry.
Oh, lovely.
So you like D'Onofri, don't you?
Yeah, no, D'Onofri is great.
So
I studied under her. I studied under a lot of them. Remedial lessons, I suppose.
So so she's in charge now. Not that she's doing a lot of the paperwork. Never really been her thing.
Paperwork is stupid.
So,
what year is this?
You mean you don't know? It's 2020.
Huh.
Why do you not know what year this is?
We're going on adventures.
Oh, these would be otherworldly adventures, would they?
Well, they were here too.
So does that mean you've missed mundane politics as well?
I mean, I missed it in the sense that I didn't really follow it to begin with.
Right. Well, okay. I won't bore you with it then.
You know, people are going to do what they're going to do.
So, I seem to recall last time we properly spoke, we were suggesting you might talk to Yuki about handing herself in.
Who?
You remember Yuki or Jewel?
He's just kind of like
looking. Surely you remember your old friends. Quite all right.
I'm fine. Grand. Which one was Yuki?
I'm not sure how to describe her. The small young lady. Where was she from? Greece or further east, possibly.
Is she Saisho's friend?
Thanatos, definitely not.
What?
No, definitely not Saisho's friend.
Oh.
She was. Oh no, she was. She was the lover of Sketch.
The thief.
I didn't know he was a thief.
Yeah, he was a thief. I liked him. He was a good guy.
Right.
Other than the thieving,
Well, unfortunately, Sketch did something very stupid and then fled the city.
Oh. What did he do?
We were trying to claim the Leviathan, and we found a cooperative technocrat prisoner who was essentially going to defect, and then he murdered her to prove a point.
What point?
The technocrats had captured Yuki and were making an empty threat towards her, and so he killed the prisoner we had.
Didn't Yuki? No, I liked Yuki.
Yeah, I thought you did.
Nice.
I thought you were good friends with her. That's why we spoke to you to ask her to hand herself in.
Yeah, no, I was friends with her.
It was all going to hand. Okay, you might want to sit down.
Well, people die. I'm not going to sit down. People die all the time.
Oh, I didn't expect you. Oh, you're just so stoic about it.
Well, it's not a matter of stoic. I mean, in all likelihood, it's if you want to have a life that'll have an impact. I mean, you're a mage or other creature of the night. Live fast, die young.
Do you wish to know the details?
Sure. Write her a song.
She'd probably appreciate that from the little I knew of her. As you might recall, she was openly talking that she'd done a deal with a demon by the username of Faust.
Yes, no, I was there when she made the deal.
Yeah, you remember the first part of that story. She obviously, first people thought she should turn herself in for a trial. That was the last time we spoke. She didn't. She was being sheltered and in hiding, and being hunted by the Templars and others. She eventually visited Lord Saisho, who promptly arrested her on the spot.
Wait, who are the Templars?
The Knights Templar.
The old men with the funny cars?
The old men with the funny cars. I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, literally.
The thing, like there were like the Shriners and the Masons and the little like fraternal organization.
I think they're a little bit more grander than that. They are a member of the Desperate Crafts, or they were. It's all gone a bit complicated, but as in literally the Knights Templar.
Okay, like the conspiracy.
So they had their own things going on, but when they heard there was a furnace to the city, they thought they'd step in. Yuki was arrested, as I said. There was some talking. She was handed over for. Well, there wasn't a trial. They called in a specialist to weigh her soul, and she skipped the whole process and just asked for the good death, as she called it.
Wait, say that again.
She asked for, as she calls it, the good death. She requested execution.
Okay.
At the end. What people did not consider, however, was the fate of her unborn child.
What happened to the child?
Well, she'd been, as I say, briefly held by the theocracy and then mysteriously reappeared, several months pregnant. But when they executed a pregnant woman without considering the implications for the soul of her child, the Faust appeared to reclaim it because he'd implanted a soul or spirit, or well, however you want to look at it, inside her. Remember that was the deal she struck to have.
No, the deal was he got to name the child.
Yes, the true name.
Yes. Well, he didn't specify, but yes.
So
did the child die or not?
Well, the corporeal part of the child died. She was only 6 months pregnant, maybe at that point. When she died, the spirit's soul true name was reclaimed by Faust, and we later had another run-in with him. The Templars, as I mentioned, it's this complicated tale. They joined the Celestial Chorus.
Okay.
They then, however, purged the Celestial Chorus of the non-Christian members. They then tried to declare they were leaving the traditions and become the Canticlers of Lamination. The traditions decided that no, you don't speak for the chorus. You can leave, but you're not. The tradition's not leaving, and we probably went to war with them to rescue the prisoners.
Well, good.
It turned out what they'd been doing. They found a way to sacrifice people and consume their spirit, their soul, their quintessence, their faith. They were attempting to build a new celestial, as in create an archangel.
That seems insane, but
yes. Well, the problem was they thought they were following instructions from Raphael.
Was it instead from Faust?
It was from Raphael, but Raphael had deliberately given them instructions which could be misinterpreted and was working with Faust.
So Raphael's fallen?
No, he by his own admission, he skirted the rules but didn't actually break them. He simply gave instructions which could be misconstrued.
Why?
Were you around when they managed to redeem a Nefandi? Yeah. Whilst that was going on, that created a chain of events which allowed Faust to steal a name from the Book of Names.
Okay.
You see where this is going. It turned out to be the name of the first fallen.
Lucifer?
No, the first person to follow Lucifer. Who was, of course, trapped in hell and stripped of their celestial body. Faust was trying to put said true name in said celestial vessel they'd created to not only rescue it from hell, but to give it a celestial body again.
Okay.
I think apparently Raphael obviously has a connection to this one, hence personal motive.
Okay. This is really going over my head.
Yes. As I say, it's a long and complicated tale. To cut to the chase, we fought the Templars, we defeated them, Faust is banished. For good.
Well, nothing's ever for good, but okay.
Well, as in God literally sent him back to hell. That's about as good as it gets.
Isn't that where God sent him the first time?
Fair. Hopefully you'll stay there this time.
I mean, I'm skeptical, but we'll throw them back
So
again if they
at
do.
least while our short lifetimes.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, all we can do is, well, yeah.
So,
Anyways.
So that, I'd say, ended a lot better than it could have done. And here we are. I saw Yuki actually recently, though. She was present at Halloween.
Wait, I thought she died.
Yes.
Did Gravedigger resurrect her?
Master Siren summons certain spirits or things that appear to be them for Halloween. So only a brief visit.
Oh, okay.
But,
I should say hi to Siren. Yeah. Do not pray.
So, I thought you'd like. Well, I thought you should at least know some of the story of how Yuki passed and how that whole matter concluded itself.
No, I appreciate that.
And that Faust hopefully won't be bothering us for a while.
Yeah. And how's the order doing otherwise? Who's here right now?
Let me think. There's Hune, who joined us a couple of years ago. Has amnesia and cybernetic implants. So
I met him briefly. He's the Korean fellow.
Yes, I believe he's joined Vitius. And then there's Minnie, another young Vitius, came over from America.
Vitreous? What's a Vitreous?
Minnie.
What house?
Oh, Vitius.
Oh, Verdicious.
Yes, Verdicious. Excuse me. And who else is around? Oh, of course, we have Mr. Page joined us from the Syndicate.
Huh?
The Tenocracy. We have a defector who's joined us.
Oh, okay.
He got rather put out when his superiors threatened to put his wife's soul into one of their engines.
I'm surprised they even believe in souls.
Oh, they believe in a spiritual concept. They call them ephemera, and the Leviathan engine was powered by them.
Mm.
So I'm sure they wouldn't call it a soul, but I would like to think it's probably close to actually being a spirit. But you can see why that rather made him reflect on his choice of loyalties. And we have young Thaddeus, who awoke again a bit over 2 years ago. I think he's found a place in House Shea.
That's where I was originally did my apprenticeship. Liam and I.
Very, very gifted linguist. He was a student here, postgrad student here at the university when he awoke. So that's the people around at some level. Stephanos left the city.
Who's Stephanos?
Oh, you know him. A Greek fellow that woke here. Took after Hephaestus.
Oh, he vaguely sounds familiar.
Oh yeah, yes. No, he was present when we last met.
A lot of people have come and gone here over the years.
True.
I mean,
so anyone else you're curious to hear about? You do remember?
Let's see. Jinx.
She was. Let me think. She was with us when we stormed the Templars' place. At the end. Oh yeah. And I haven't really seen much of her since. So I don't. I was guessing she's left the city, but don't really know for certain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. We were. I was. We were. I was a little perturbed by her. So we were. Some of us were praying for God to intercede and cast down Faust. Some people obviously had issues with this. Some people just stayed silent or prayed to their own gods. Jinx decided to deliberately make small talk over our prayers to make it harder.
Oh,
okay. Which was at best a little rude, and at worst deeply suspicious.
All right.
And I actually another virtual adept, Kurzweil, she came to us and blew the whistle on her. He showed us the chat logs that she literally was, harboring, harboring Yuki while she was carrying the cursed child, and was saying things like she has what we need.
Wait, Jinx was saying that?
Yes, I saw the chat logs. Jinx actually said those words. She has what we need. Now, it's not quite a smoking gun. It's a little vague, but it's at least suspicious.
Yeah.
So
what about so what, is she's around or no?
I've not seen her or heard about her being around for a long time, so I don't know. Not to my knowledge.
I think win rate died.
Yeah, I was there. I assume you know the story.
I can't remember if I was there or not.
You weren't present. I don't think you were present. No, this was on the bridge of the Leviathan.
Oh no, I wasn't there.
No, it was. I mean, I have a lot of respect for the guy. He made the ultimate sacrifice to save us and the mission. They'd sent a bomb in, and he bonded to it and then teleported himself away to take it with him.
Oh, that sounds right. What about Dr. Paulson?
I was good friends with him. I believe he's left the city. Oh no! He joined the Children of Knowledge, but then left the city. So. He was. That caused a little kerfuffle. He was with us on the Templar mission, and what happened exactly? Yeah, okay. They were discussing the mission beforehand, and he said that if there was an injured Templar, he would be required to treat them under his Hippocratic oath. And one of the so we say, I forget who was exactly the Morgan. It was a pagan following the Morrigan. Said that if he did that, she'd kill him.
Oh, I remember her.
Which caused a bit of a scandal because we just only had sketch committee. We don't had sketch committee war crime, but now we had someone else essentially threatening to murder our own doctors in battle, which would probably also count as a war crime.
Why? What happened to her?
She had a little cabal with some other pagans of Umbral blood, and I think they all left the city in a big huff, as far as I know. So there were some issues with them. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really speak to her, but I had a bad experience with one of the other ones. Was it Collins? I think. Was it? Oh yeah, that was it. I was in the council meeting discussing Yuki, and she came up with some quite offensive and fascist comments. So I wasn't impressed.
Well, Morrigan's not the softest.
Yeah. So. Hmm. What, I mean, obviously you're an experienced and learned Meronita. What's your take on theology?
I'm not really learned.
But you're experienced. You've been on lots of adventures, as you call it. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, I know some people in this city they seem to get pagan gods turning up to have small talk with them. I've seen at least one.
I've seen a few.
Yeah, quite.
But what does it matter? I mean, if it's meaningful to you, or to someone rather, then it's meaningful. And you know, who knows? Maybe the more strongly something is believed in, the more powerful it becomes.
But do you think that's all they are? Simply creations and emanations of human belief?
I don't really tend to think about it. They're real to me.
I mean, I don't think we could. I don't think anyone around here would deny their existence or their power.
Well, but what else? What do you want to know then? I don't understand your question.
No matter then.
I mean, they're
matters of faith came up. It was not magic that cast down Faust.
there was probably, Rory. By the way, Rory does actually wear rosary.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Well, yeah.
He has many little cognitive dissonances.
Okay. Yes.
Like he's like, someone made the world. Someone made everything.
That seems a reasonable belief.
And I mean, I don't know anything about them, but I like the world and I like people. I like the stories. And I think the world's a pretty good place. Just because bad things happen frequently, that doesn't make the whole place terrible. I mean, that's one of the...
You could imagine matters of faith became on people's minds, what with the actions of the Templars, the actions of demons, extremely aggressive pagans, but they weren't particularly faithful pagans. Their belief was based on the fact that their gods were their direct parents, not any real faith. So they didn't really have a pagan belief system. And as I said, Raphael turned up again at Halloween after someone called on him. So again, these things have been on people's minds. What did you say?
I don't spend too much time thinking about it, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, for Stephanos, his magical practice was, I think, part of his faith. His sanctum was full of, idols. But I take it that's not the case with yourself.
I don't really think about it.
No matter. We can move on.
Yeah, I like I like the gods. I still go to mass.
which I'm sure has been true for untold millions across history. I'm sure most
Yeah.
Middle Ages peasants did understand the contradiction in doing both.
Exactly. The lords, the tuatha de Danann, the ladies, the kings and queens. You go to mass on Sunday, you leave a bowl of cream out.
Not for the grim.
For the fae.
But are not fae traditionally repelled by things of the church? Are their enchantments broken by the sound of church bells?
Some.
That faith is effective on maybe not all of them, but certainly most.
I don't know, but most.
I've heard some people say that's simply, the one story or the one song that drives out all the others. Would be a very dark.
I heard some people say that mages and witches get their powers from the devil.
Well, some do.
Yeah, but not that many. I don't know. I find a lot of Magi to be a very depressing bunch.
In what way depressing?
They lose sight of the forest not even for the trees, for the dirt.
I would agree with you. I think it's unhealthy to devote one's entire life simply to, well, magic and or politics.
It's not just magic and politics. They have vast cosmic power, and what do they do with it?
Study to get even more.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I've had this conversation with Dr. Paulson. We both agree it's much more healthy to have a vocation in the mundane world.
It's not just about a vacation. Like, I don't know that it's better to have a vacation in the mundane world. You have power. Go out and use it. Make the world a better place.
Well, I like to think I have in my own small way.
Why stop at small?
Only good time.
Really? What's going to happen next year, or next month, or next century? It's going to change anything.
What do you say precisely that you think we should, go back to waging the Ascension War on a nightly basis in the streets?
I think even the Ascension War is selfish.
Go on.
Honestly?
You mean just do good? I mean, this is something I have. Well, I've struggled with. So, for example, I've reached rank of adept now. It's within my capacity to cure those mentally afflicted.
So why don't you?
Well, I'm quite happy to. Of course, people might start asking why there's a lawyer wandering around the psychiatric ward.
So go get a medical degree.
Yeah, okay, that all in good time.
Why? Why does it have to take time?
That would take time, wouldn't it?
No, it wouldn't. Go find a virtual adept to create a fake ID for you.
Yes, well, unfortunately, the virtual adept ID seems to have disappeared. But yes.
Okay, we'll find someone else. Or use your powers to, hell, just bribe someone.
Do more good works to the world. Well, let's see. Was it?
Or no, you don't even have to be a doctor. Just be a nurse. Go get a job. Go be a volunteer. I don't know.
No, I'm sure that I'm sure there are good things we can do. Yeah, was it 10 days ago? I was with Mr. Grimm dealing with that haunted house.
Who's Mr. Grimm?
Of the Brothers Grimm fame.
How old is he?
How old? He's what? A few centuries now, I think. So, apparently, one of the brothers awoke and is now a master. The other one didn't and has died of natural causes. So he travels around investigating strange, interesting locations, many of which are highly dangerous. So we went to Montpellier House. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's about an hour north of Dublin.
No.
Was a prehistoric cairn, I believe, but then there was a house built on top of it, which became home to the Hellfire Club. So, awful lot of many layers of story upon that place.
Is that where that the tomb is?
Oh no, curiously, that's a different tomb, which has been. They found a sealed. Was it not sure what the historical date was. A prehistoric tomb, and then inside they found what they didn't expect to find was this coffin or sarcophagus, which dates to 1000 AD. So clearly put there long afterwards.
Oh, interesting.
I did want to discuss that with you because obviously I know you've got, shall we say, an interest in that time period.
Yeah.
So it's a sealed black sarcophagus. It has script on it in Enochian.
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah, quite. So did I. So, well, I'm sure we could both imagine many things that may or may not be. I was rather thinking
probably not something particularly good when the symbols are bound and chained.
Indeed, that was my region as well. So, of course, the other question of who or what is bound and from which side.
From what side of what?
Well, if it seems to date pretty much from the Schism War.
But it might not be. Maybe it's not from the Schism War.
It could be from just before. But the fact that it's got Enochian on it would imply it's probably Hermetic in origin.
Enochian's the language of the angels.
But the other traditions of magic don't generally know it. We're the only tradition where it's common knowledge.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a mage.
Possible. Like it could be many things.
It could be a demon.
Indeed, it could be a demon. It could be a demon. It could be some other kind of spirit, or even one of the fair folk. I dare say there would have been difficult fair folk in Ireland at the time. It could be.
I doubt it's one of the fair folk, although you never know.
It could be some kind of undead thing.
It could be.
It could be many things, but I think the first thing.
But why look into it?
Why? Well, let's suppose there's some horrible demon inside it. We'd all feel a bit stupid if we just sit around while the mundanes open it and let it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't you agree?
Some things are best to leave sleeping.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you. In fact, it may well be we need to step in to make sure it's left alone.
Okay, but moving it may wake it up.
Well, they've already moved it to this university.
Okay.
So not sadly this building, but the building over there.
Do you have knowledge of spirits?
Not really my area. I was trained by D'Onofrio, and it's not her area either.
I've picked up a little bit.
I mean, I think the first thing we need to do is get access to the building. Obviously, there's some security, and
The security is not. I'm not worried about it.
And yeah, at least let's see what else we can learn about it. Are there active enchantments on it for starters? Can we figure out what's inside? I mean, that's the thing. What if it could be something which we decide should be released?
I suppose that's possible.
Something trapped by malevolent parties. But also if we don't act, someone else in the city who may take an interest and decide to abscond with it.
Okay.
Yeah, there have been enough infernalists in the city that they could well try something like that.
There's gonna be more infernalists in the city. There's something about Dublin they like.
you think that the level of faith in our hands would keep them away?
No, I think they like the level of faith. Like,
what's your take on Lottie?
who?
The ecstatic Lottie. Believe she's the current head of the Dene.
I don't really know her well.
No. I've heard lots about her. I only have had one interaction, which was a council meeting in Lord Sideshow's home. She came out and openly called for a show trial of Yuki. That's the exact words, show trial.
Okay.
I was quite shocked by this, and as you can imagine, condemned it in the strongest possible way. I was further appalled when various other people representing various traditions stood up for it. I'm sure you can imagine I was quite... Yeah, the justice system doesn't like it when you mess around with the justice system itself. So...
I don't know. I think the more I think about all these things over the last few years, the more I've just decided I'm just going to do my own thing.
That's sensible. I'm sure you're not the first person around here who's done that.
And not just do my own thing. I'm going to go help people. That's what I've been doing for the last 2 years, and that's what I'm going to do more of.
Well, so I like to think I did that. I do that myself in my own small way. Sometimes mundane.
But again, why keep it small?
Well, it's not wise to draw too much attention. There is something called the rule of shade.
Or just kind of stares.
You can get more done in the long term if you work quietly and softly rather than going out in a bang.
You're dressed like an 18th century American founding father. Your hair is tied with a bow. You're not exactly blending in as it is.
But I certainly don't look harmful or dangerous.
Yes, you do. If a mother of a small child saw you coming towards them on the street, she would move out of the way or possibly cross the street.
Besides, legal fashions do rather tend to trail the times. Would you say the same to Dinofri? She has a particular fashion sense as well.
I have already said what told her what her fashion sense is like, which, by the way, I think is awesome, but it's not exactly subtle. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to...
Are you still working to see Merenita restored as a major house?
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't even decided if I'm going to stay in the order.
Why would you? No, I can speculate on the answer.
Rory just stares at him.
I could speculate, but I would still like to hear the exact reasons.
Because I'm not particularly interested in finding a place for myself in a circle jerk of arrogance and, obsolescence. Well, they wouldn't use those words. He would use the word circle jerk. Because I'm not particularly interested in finding my place for myself in the circle jerk here. It's small-minded and petty, and it doesn't seem to have accomplished anything.
Well, for one thing, the Order's been quite successful here in taking in newly awakened people and helping them make sense of what they can do. Thaddeus being a good example.
Great.
Anos being another.
You've turned us into Hogwarts.
There is a place for that.
I know.
And there's far worse people out there who could find a newly awakened person and.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
And we do fight, go out there and fight the good fight. We fought against the Templars, quite literally. We dealt with the haunted house. We dealt with Faust. It's the other traditions who've been doing infernalism and harbouring infernalists and all sorts of other nasty things. We'd be the ones get there fixing it.
That's true, I suppose. This time.
And
how's Titleist doing right now?
I don't think we've got any in the city that I'm aware of.
Yeah. And around the world, how are their numbers of House Titalis?
I'm not informed on their numbers particularly. Are
they recovered from the Second Massassa War yet?
Well, we've had 2 years of peace with the democracy, so some of them might be getting bored.
I mean,
there's good and bad people in any organisation. I had this conversation with Mr. Page from the Tenocracy. But
I'm just saying.
I'm happy to recognise the Order is not perfect. No organisation that's comprised of humans is perfect.
That's true, but we've had numerous entire houses that have fallen into infernalism.
But what I would say about the Order, it's the best tradition at cleaning up its own house.
That's probably not true.
No? Well, I'm only thinking of recent examples with the Euthanatoi and others harbouring their infernalist. Actively.
Yeah.
Around here, the other traditions were openly harbouring a self-confessed infernalist.
We nearly we were I'm told he ran. He says I'm told in a very weird way. Interesting chance of extinction. Risk of extinction. Not that long ago, when Titalis tried to restart a war with Tremere.
Titalis had their own deep philosophy of conflict. It's not one I necessarily agree with.
At least they have a. Yeah.
But
has there ever been is there peace with the Danae now? Have we issued an apology? Are we just hoping this whole thing goes away?
Is the peace? Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. Theoretically, I guess the schism never actually ended. So if the leadership returned after 1,000 years, technically we're still at war with them, I suppose.
Well, but isn't Lottie is Danae?
Well, she's claiming the name.
She's more than claimed the name.
Well, Lottie, as I say, she's openly committed a high crime of attempting to conspiracy to pervert the course of justice.
So you're going to bring a charge against her?
Well, fortunately, I say I immediately condemned it, but the Tradition Council in the city was full of her mates. So, if she'd immediately said, "Oh no, I didn't mean it like that," my bad, I think we wouldn't have made such a big deal of it. But the fact she didn't do that. I know. It's fact that it's not really be a thing on our that we're only concerned with. Yeah. I mean, if someone wants to present evidence to revise the history, as I've told you before, there are ways to do that.
But all right, I mean,
I think if people were going to act against her, they'd rather do it off something she's actually done than simply
claim it this way. Other than a wonderful relationship with the Nofre, what have I gotten out of belonging to the Hermetics? I mean, I know what I've sacrificed for them.
How many years of training?
Yeah, the training I got from them wasn't very good. Wasn't particularly useful.
Access to facilities and resources?
No.
Comrades and help when you need it?
No. I mean, I've showed up.
Access to rare knowledge like Enochian or the secrets of our true names?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I couldn't have got that elsewhere.
But what is the order demanded of you in return?
I've bled for it.
That's not quite what I said. What has it demanded of you in return? Has it demanded that you engage in combat?
Yes, it absolutely has.
Okay, well, I'm curious. How did this happen?
We had to go clean up a mess of a former Hermetic master.
Oh, you mean that would be? Forget the name for a moment. You mean that would be Dinofri's parents? I'm guessing. Edgar von Krantz?
Maybe, I can't recall. Seems like a long time ago. The Master of Time.
Yes, that would be him.
I liked him.
I met him actually at Halloween.
I killed him.
Mm.
Oh, and then there was the clockwork. I mean, I guess that didn't matter. I don't know. There's other times I've bled. I have bled and killed and died for the order.
But at least some of those not good adventures. Were they not doing good works in the world?
Not really.
I mean, yeah, I fought for the order. I went on the mission for the Leviathan, but I wasn't made to go on it. I may have been encouraged.
They demanded my silence. They were charging me with a crime for which I would have been executed. Many crimes.
Well,
okay. They punished me for assisting on it. I made the best decision I could.
I gather with those charges, they were originally they were Council of Nine Tradition charges, which the council agreed to let the Hermetics deal with in house. So the order was not the prime instigator of that case.
No, I suppose that's true, but they didn't really stand up for me either. And then when the whole thing with the Danae that song about the Danae happened,
well,
they were going to execute me for that as well.
I don't think they were going to execute you for a song. You annoyed a lot of people, but that's not actually a capital crime.
Yes, it is. It was a capital charge.
What? I'm pretty sure it's not. I don't see how they can construct a case based on that.
Treason.
What line of the oath is it breaking?
Secrets. I don't know. Whatever. They would have had lawyers argue it.
I mean, yes, someone could try that, but that any tribunal should just throw that out as nonsense. I mean,
they wouldn't.
Well, yes, you annoyed a lot of people by singing a song which insults the hallowed war dead. They're
not so hallowed if they killed children.
Well, I'm sure not everyone in the war did.
I'm sure a lot of them did.
So we've been over that. I dare say children died in every 11th century war.
That doesn't make it okay.
Can you keep the volume down?
Yeah.
And also your voice.
Yes.
Well, I know it might be a little harsh for us to judge from this so far removed point in time to try to impose our nice, tidy ethics and morality of that age. It was a pretty dark and bloody age all round.
Yeah, that doesn't make something okay.
And they were probably following the laws of war as they existed at the time.
I don't think the laws of war ever involved killing children.
When you say children, I mean, it would depend on their legal status. Were they apprentices? Were they the children of the companions? I mean, what was their position?
Does it matter?
Well, from a legal point of view, yes, it does. I mean, an apprentice, it could potentially be claimed as war booty. And it would not be a crime to slay an apprentice during a justly declared wizard's war. It would be not encouraged. It would be frowned upon, but it would be legal. And if the Danae were infernalists, those apprentices may already be initiated into the first stage of an infernal cult.
I doubt the Danae were infernalists.
Well, just judging by the new Danae, they've been openly harboured an infernalist, which isn't doing them any favours.
So did we.
What do you mean? Sorry, what do you mean by that?
There were other infernalists. Yuki wasn't the only one who was talking with Faust or made a deal.
You're speaking about the priest who handed over his phylactery.
Yeah.
Well, again, that's about all I know about the case. So I don't know who he was.
Zach. I don't really remember him all that well.
No, that was before I was active around here. But
Listen,
yes, the order's not perfect. Yes, it's got some. I'm sure it's got some bad things in its history. Every 1,000-year-old organization has bad things in its history.
but you can't.
Because the church does.
The church does all sorts of terrible things.
That doesn't make it a bad organization and doesn't take away from the good it does in the world.
Fine. What good does the order do? Does it feed the hungry? Does it shelter the cold?
Well,
Does it rescue the helpless?
Okay, of course,
Does it free the slaves?
Organizations do nothing, individuals do things, and yes, members of the order do those things.
I'm sure there are members of infernalist cults who do those things too.
And as I said, it does also actively take in and find a place and for newly awakened.
So do all the others. They compete for them.
But the order is far more, has the capacity, has a structured program. It has a long tradition of doing so.
So do the others. Sorry, 1 second. Someone's at the door. Coming. Hey, Brian. I'm just. She did. Just give me a minute. Lila, Brian's here. All right, back.
Okay, the concrete example, the sphere system of magic that we use, that all the traditions use, the order developed it.
Good.
That's what makes us different to the traditions. We're the only tradition that actually.
How do you know we developed it?
It's well recorded in the history books.
There's lots of things in history books that aren't true.
Yeah, we could go and look at the book, look at exactly.
But it doesn't matter if it's in the book. I'm not arguing that it's in a book or not. I don't know that it's true, neither do you.
I think that's a pretty well-established fact.
No, it isn't.
Because the other traditions simply use magic. They don't try to systemize it. They don't try to understand it the way we do.
How do you know that someone before the order didn't systemize it and we just stole it from them?
If someone had the sphere magic at a massively early point in history, we know about it because that would completely tip the balance of power in the world.
Would it? Maybe they didn't want to use it. Maybe they had a good reason not to use it.
But still, that's what makes the Order of Hermes different, that we actually seek to systemize and understand what we're doing and develop the theory behind it.
So does the Sons of Ether, so does the Technocracy.
Well, the Technocracy also use our sphere system.
And again, you say ours, you don't know that it's ours.
I think that's pretty accepted history.
It was also pretty accepted that if you went far enough, you'd fall off the side of the earth.
No, it wasn't. Even the ancient Greeks knew the world was round.
Yes.
And then
the world forgot.
No, I believe that's a myth. I mean, anyone could see a ship descend into the sea over the horizon. People knew the world was round.
No, they didn't.
Pretty sure that was church doctrine.
No. the Germans and the Vikings, they believed in a flat Earth. Okay.
So, I understand you've had some bad experiences with the Order, and you wanted to leave. Does not come as a massive surprise to me, or at least that you're thinking about it. I'm not quite sure if you've decided yet. I hope on reflection you can see that there is also some good sides to it, and that rather than leaving, there might be some good you could do by trying to improve it from within.
Why?
2 years to be marked by the chaos of a country leaving the European Union. That's happened, right? Yeah, and that's been terrible.
Oh, good. Who left?
Sorry?
Good. Who left?
The UK left.
Oh, fantastic.
That's
Wait,
why
no, I was around for that.
there's food shortages. It's bad.
No, it's not bad.
What food shortages? Yes, it's pretty right in the
Are
street.
people starving? No.
Racist groups on the rise. Tensions in the
Racist groups are on the rise in the EU as well. Racist groups are on the rise all over the world. The racist groups are on the rise in Cambodia.
It's not exactly good for the peace process here in Ireland, for that matter. Obviously, with the tensions on the north. So
it'll work itself out.
Well, I assume you're in no hurry. You can at least think on it, and I say, why not give it a go and try and improve things from within? You obviously, I admire you.
No. Here. Why? Let me ask you. Why should Marinita stay?
Why should you? Why?
Why? We're not a great house. We're mocked. Ex Miscellaneous called rabble, even though we're the largest house.
Literally, house out of hash. Yes, I'm aware of the epistemology and the history of that.
What's so good? We can go join. We can go join the verbena. We can go join a thing. We can go form our own craft.
That has happened.
It's not like we're going to have less of a voice.
Because you've been part of the Order since its inception.
And for 600 years, they have been making fun of us and kicking us while we're down. The secrets of Marinita are integrated Hermetic theory, and equally, you are fundamentally Hermetics. You've learned our secrets, the meaning of numbers and signs and symbols and elements and so on and so on. And you've got your own mysteries. A lot of us use things other than that, and that's not a good enough reason.
You might find that this is a case where the grass is always greener, where you could join the Verbena and then find equally you don't fit in because you're different to them.
That's probably true. I'm not actually talking about the Verbena. They were just an example.
It has happened. Has Bjorna left when the traditions were
Bjorna left? They didn't come back.
They've had a long and potted history, I believe, didn't they? They joined the Verbena and then they left the Verbena. Good example of not fitting in and became a craft. I assume they're still around somewhere. I don't hear much about them these days.
I think they're back in the Verbena.
Okay, so they've had their issues with if they left and they had to rejoin.
I'm not sure actually they ever became a craft, truthfully, but
I thought they did in the back in the 90s.
No, they've been Bjorn, they've been the verbena since the 15th century.
Yeah, when the Knight traditions were founded as an entity, but I'm sure they became a craft in the 90s. So you may be right. They may have rejoined the verbena.
I think they're just a separate little sub group of the verbena.
So, yes, they wouldn't be the first house to leave and join another tradition. It has happened. I know, but then has that really worked out for the Bjorna? Are they still a recognised thing? I don't know. I don't recall meet the Bjorna Magus, or have they gradually been assimilated? Have they lost their distinctness as a house?
So, better to die on your feet than live on your knees.
Some of us are proud of our lineages, in the same way that mortals are proud of their blood lineages.
Good.
So we're happy to see our traditions continue. They were badgering me at one point to take an apprentice.
Listen, I wouldn't expect you to understand.
Try me.
You're a member of a house that has always been a great house. It's one of the original houses. It's always been a great house.
True.
And it has a special role within.
Which house do you think I'm a member of?
I can't recall if you're Guernicus or Flambeau.
Yes, I'm the Filius of Dinofri, actually.
So there you go.
So yes, has Flambeau.
Yeah.
But I'm not a typical Flambeau. But then,
no, you're special, just like everyone else. He smiles.
But I still have elements of that tradition. Yeah.
Hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't care. I just saying, I don't know that this is such a good fit for me and for some of the others.
Well, do you have a cabal at the moment?
A what?
A cabal, like a small group of friends that you do things with and help each other.
They're all dead.
It may be what you really need is you don't need to change tradition. You just need a good solid cabal from a variety of traditions.
Maybe.
I had one. Sadly, they broke up. Most of them left the city. Stefanos was the organizer.
Yeah, I recall you guys making stuff before I left.
Well, mainly him, but yes. They had plans. They were doing things. They were, to have concrete goals and work towards them together. It may be that's what you're really missing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to go and what does leave the order really mean? I mean, I assume you're still going to uphold the oath you swore.
No, I want to get out of the oath.
Well, that's not really a thing. And even under tradition law, oaths are very serious.
Yes, unless someone relieves you of it.
I mean, I was going to say, as long as you're going to uphold the oath, there's nothing to stop you spending all your time with some other tradition and doing things with
I don't want to be a member of the Order of Hermes.
Okay, looks slightly troubled, puzzled. what does that? Why does your membership on paper? Why has that become such a problem to you? I mean, it doesn't require any duties or service from you.
I don't want to Godwin the argument, but like, what does me being a member of the Nazi Party mean?
Oh, come on, we're not. The order of herb is not that bad, surely.
Yeah, before Lottie, show me the Dene.
Well, you're still going about this event 1,000 years ago.
Yes.
But even if that were true, that doesn't necessarily reflect on the modern order. Okay, you can't judge the modern Catholic Church by the actions of the Inquisition.
We can and we do.
But clearly, that's not rational.
Yes, it is.
How?
I don't know. It is. I do judge them by what happened in the Inquisition. When you identify with someone, with a group, you identify with the history.
Well,
you identify with the story.
There is something in the Convention of Human Rights. People cannot be judged for the actions of their ancestors. That is a basic human right.
Yeah, I don't know.
And so I'm sure we've all had an ancestor who's done something bad at some point in time.
I'm sure we have.
I mean, I can understand that it's difficult for the Merenita, that the fair folk aren't quite as common around here as they used to be, even in Ireland, and that Valor took away part of their focus or purpose. I've often thought the Merenita should embrace the founders' tradition and not Quintilian's.
Murray just kind of stares at him. Surprised you know about that.
I'm quite well read on these things. But, and after all, isn't that one reason why the house has such an issue with you? Not with you, with your house. Because of what happened to their founder.
Maybe.
Mm. But maybe that's what the Merlin need. They need to find a way in which their particular knowledge is relevant to us in this age, and whether that's diversified from fair.
Why do we have to prove it again? If our value is not obvious to the order, then perhaps we should amicably part ways. Nothing personal. We'll just go our own path.
Well, I don't think that's you want to. Well, now talking about the whole house, not just you as a person. And last I heard, you were seeking major house status, and as they used to say about in the European Union, it's hard to lead a club, but you're trying to leave a club.
I don't know. The whole thing had left a bad taste in my mouth, and I think.
yes, I'm happy to agree with you that certain things that happened, that may have happened to you personally, were unfair and bad. And I'm glad that hopefully it's been it's not had the resolution it might have done, which is a good thing. And a bunch of those charges, well, frankly, I wasn't particularly impressed by.
But again, what is the order doing? How are we making the world a better place?
Well, we rather don't. The Templars were actively killing various, particularly the Jews, the Muslims, the pagans. We went in there and stopped them, and then cast down the demon who was ultimately behind it.
Good.
Sorry, big pardon. God
Great.
cast down the demon who was behind it. We were certainly fought the good fight.
And how about stuff that didn't directly affect you or threaten you?
Well, actually, I wasn't in any way threatened by them. They weren't. As I said, they were going after the Jews, the Muslims, and the pagans.
Who do you think they would have come after next?
I was actually on good terms with the Archbishop. What if they might you think they might have eventually moved on to the Protestants and the Methodists?
Of course.
Well, still.
And then they would have gone after the other pagans.
What are the good things? Well,
insufficiently religious.
Well, I think that So sorry. Your question is what other good have we done? Well, 10 days ago, as I said, the whole House of the Hellfire Club, haunted by bad spirits. We went in there. We dealt with it.
Yeah, these are all very exciting things, but on an ordinary level, how are you making the world a better place?
Well, I'm doing my day job honorably and dutifully. I'm bringing up an adopted child.
Good. But again, your day job, couldn't any lawyer do that?
I'm sure there are other people who could. I'm not going to say any lawyer, but I'm sure
why do you have to? Why does it take a mage?
Why are you so against acting mundanely? Why are you so disparaged just acting as a mundane person?
Because we have gifts. It's a responsibility.
And I don't object to using them. And I do manifestly use them.
You can do things that no one else can do. No other lawyer could do.
Yes. Well, we'll take that as read and move on.
Okay.
So you're saying I should spend more time having heroic mage adventures?
Not necessarily heroic, but yes.
Like, for example, stopping the black sarcophagus being opened and whatever's inside being released.
I suppose that's important too, but why don't you go help cure mental illness? Why don't you empower the minds of
again, that starts to raise some quite deeper questions there about issues of consent, issues of what's truly sanity.
Fine. Then forget about the sphere of mind. What other spheres do you use?
Okay, well, I'm a flambeau. Which sphere do you think I use? I've been training the most.
I don't know.
But still, so I'm talking a lot. Why don't you tell me what good adventures have you been on then? What have you been actually doing? What good do you do with
I
your...
rescued children and elderly people from a burning building when it was too hot for firefighters to go in themselves.
Okay. And was there... okay, I presume there was media coverage? Not they just think you were heroic and tough and lucky?
He shrugs.
I mean, you know...
I didn't really think about it. Didn't really care.
I suppose I would like to think if I had to be walking past the said burning building, I would have done the same thing.
I went looking for them. You don't...
As I say, I have a rather full schedule. I'm currently arguing it's too full for me to take an apprentice, especially given my ward.
That's good. You don't watch Britain's Got Talent, I guess.
No, why would I?
I won.
Oh, well, congratulations!
Thank you.
Was there a prize or a...
Yeah, but I donated it.
Is that making the world a better place?
I think so.
I assume it's bringing happiness and joy to a great many people.
Well, that and singing about magic and fairies and being yourself.
Which is all very commendable and praiseworthy. And I am genuinely... I'm sorry, I don't... This might... I'm worried that sounds sarcastic, but it's not. I am actually quite genuinely impressed. You understand the risk, of course, that you that probably put you on the Tenoxy radar.
I was already on their radar.
We all are in our own ways, I'm sure, but
no,
I definitely am.
I met their directors. I killed one of them.
Okay.
They have pictures of me.
Quite.
They know who I am.
Well, they know I will.
As I said, I'm going to die sooner or later.
Mm. Well, that's... No, good. I mean, you understand that, you accept that, and you act anyway, and that's admirable. I'll say, I might win rate for his sacrifice. Have you trained an apprentice?
No.
No, not interested, or...
I don't think I've got much to teach them.
You're of a certain of a certain degree that you surely you would know enough to teach someone. And not just magic, you could teach them your outlook on life, much as we're doing now.
Oh, I saved some fairy children and prevented them from going to war.
Save them from what? From going to war?
No. From aliens.
Look, strange look. You saved them from aliens.
No, I saved the fairy children from the aliens.
Right. You you realize that sounds a little bizarre. What were the aliens?
They were like honeycombs. Anyways, I prevented a war from breaking out there. I didn't kill any of the aliens.
Right.
And they were just they just didn't understand how to communicate and understand social norms. I've gone to speak at schools. I've run races.
Well, I mean,
I swam around Ireland.
I don't think we're particularly disagreeing. Yeah, we both agree doing good in the world in our own way. Yeah, you might have some slightly different outlooks on scale or discretion, but that's not a fundamental disagreement.
It's not a matter of discretion. And of course, it's a matter of scale. I want to put. I want to give fire to mankind.
Which is well, that's quite literally what my great grandparent did.
Prometheus?
Sorry, just check the name. Kurtzon taught mortals how to split the atom.
Cool.
Well, some people thought it definitely wasn't cool, sadly, but no. So you're actively fighting the Ascension War then. You're trying to shift paradigms through inspiring music.
No, it's not just shifting paradigms. Like, listen.
You want people to believe in the fair folk.
I want people to believe in the fair folk. I want people to believe. I want people to believe that there are no limits. I want people to believe that the good guys win and the villains get their comeuppance.
Well, most children believe that, and then they grow up.
Why so cynical?
And I didn't think that was particularly cynical.
It is cynical.
It's because we live in an imperfect world where...
But you can make it perfect. You can literally change reality.
But it's not given to us to put the whole of the world to right with a wave of a wand.
Yes, it is. That is exactly what is given to us.
What's your end goal then? If you could put the world to rights, what would it be? Is it the fair folk living in harmony with humanity? Is it everyone having the power to change the world?
He smiles. Everyone. And every dream is possible. And there are no borders in space. And magic and science are indistinguishable.
But if every dream was possible, that would be chaos.
Rory just smiles.
And that's the good way. One person's dream is another person's nightmare. You wouldn't want all of Hitler's dreams to be possible, would you? I mean, right now, I don't think I'd want all of Putin's dreams to be possible, or Trump's.
Heroes will rise and stop him.
But hang on then. That's a contradiction though. You can't say you want everything to be possible if you then say that heroes will always advise to stop the bad, the ones that you don't like.
No, you don't understand. It'll all simultaneously be true.
Even when they contradict.
Yes. What's so hard to understand about that?
Well, besides the obvious logical fallacy.
Logic is...
because it will plunge...
You have seen things that are outside of reality. Why are you clinging so fearfully to it?
I think perhaps you'll use the phrase outside reality in a different way to I understand it. Just because they're outside the modern mundane understanding of reality doesn't mean it's outside reality.
Oh, you've never seen them.
What do you mean by them? What, you mean the fair folk?
No. There are things outside reality.
Well, perhaps some of this discussion you should have with the other hermetics around here and see how they respond. Maybe they've got more clever answers to you than I have. Maybe you can convince them. Maybe you'll realise that actually you're not really so different.
But well, I don't want to convince them.
Well, that's your choice.
I'm not looking to.
Hang on. You just said you want to convince people of your ideas that all dreams are possible. They're people.
No. They're already mages. They can make their own path. I don't want to stop them from doing what they want.
Don't say stop.
What they feel is right. I don't want to lead them into mine.
I mean, some of them are quite young. Yeah, they probably appreciate somebody's had your level of experience and your number of adventures.
I'm 20 years old.
But you've done a lot in those 20 years.
Or 21 now, maybe.
Yeah. Given the rank you are in the order, you've done a lot.
What rank?
Well,
22. I'm 22 now.
But still, by your own admission, you've killed a master.
I've killed more than one.
Quite.
I don't know. I don't want to be satisfied.
Well, it's up to you. I simply suggest you have a conversation to get to know them.
Yeah, at some point they'll drop by.
Some things in common, and maybe you won't. And maybe one or both parties might learn something from the conversation.
What tradition is Grim?
Oh, I think he's. Oh, I assume they were orphans, but they've. I think he's now setting up his own craft. So I heard.
Where can I find him?
I don't know where he's staying. He's in the city somewhere. I probably got. I think I've got some. I assume I've got a phone number for him. I gives you contact details if I've got them. Check with Evan. It's a bit odd, I suppose, for them to recognise. I don't know how many members he's got already. I assume he's got some to be recognised as a craft. But I mean, as I said, it may just be what you really need is a cabal of like-minded people that you can do your things with. I certainly miss having a cabal. That doesn't take away from the order or the tradition. And as I say, if you still really care about the Dene history, you'd be far better placed to do so about it in the order. You know, present evidence, as I say, write it up, challenge the history, get it revised.
Maybe.
That will be a lot easier to do within the order than outside it.
Maybe.
And you know, it may be that people with this far removed in time are able to look at it with a different perspective, and because they don't have the same personal stake. You're not talking about anyone who was directly involved, or even anyone's parents who was directly involved, probably.
Maybe. But,
So, perhaps we've talked a lot about the past and the present somewhat. Perhaps we talk a little more about the future. Do you have particular plans that you want people from the order to be involved in? I get the sense that you're more of a lone wolf, and you'd like to live that way.
no, not really. I'm very social.
Oh.
I had a cabal for a long time. They just died.
Okay. Well, given you obviously clearly do have a passion for the Schism War, and I assume you know things about it that many people won't, by the sound of it. But perhaps you should be involved in this black sarcophagus from that time.
I'd be happy to.
Maybe it's got the evidence you want.
Maybe. But again, I don't think evidence either way is going to convince me.
Well, it might convince others.
Maybe. In any case, we should organize a thing, but why don't we organize a... If there's peace with the technocracy right now, why don't we use the opportunity to rebuild?
Well,
why don't we try to change the culture? Ireland's pretty friendly.
Yes. I hope that has been happening. We've had 2 years of peace. Hopefully it won't break down. There are hotheads and rogue elements on both sides. Have you heard of the Behemoth?
No.
The Leviathan sister ship.
Of course.
Currently in the hands of rogue technocratic elements. I think Cypher 9.
Oh, he's dangerous.
Yes,
Oh,
I've seen a communication from him. I don't think we've spoken directly. I think he's
met him.
He's now in the rogue element with the Behemoth somewhere.
He's an interest. It is interesting.
Yeah, I heard a little about what they are from Mr. Page. Vat-grown children.
Cypher 9 is more than that.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence.
Oh, he's pure artificial intelligence. As I was told, he was, a vat-grown child who'd then be merged with cybernetics.
I can't recall. My memory sometimes is not so good. I think he may have been one of Turing's children. I met him at one point in Agrabah Nights.
So yes, we should try to get organise the younger hermetics together and see what we could do together about that. Well, so black sarcophagus.
I wanted to find something if you're interested in history.
Go on.
The first example of a marauder in history came up about 1,000 years ago in Ireland, attacking a hermetic chantry here.
Would that be? Do we know? Was that before, during, or after the Schism War?
I think after.
Thank you. That's interesting. So is it possible that's what's in the box?
As far as I know,
I was wondering what it could possibly be that what. Why is it locked away and not simply destroyed? And that maybe it was. I thought maybe it could be a spirit, but then it's got a human-sized box, which makes me think it's a real body. So I was thinking.
I don't know.
So maybe some kind of immortal undead they didn't know how to kill properly. But I suppose that would fit if it was a marauder that they were unable to actually destroy. Do you know?
Maybe.
Do you know anything else about it?
About the sarcophagus or about the marauder?
About the marauder? A name?
Yeah, it was just the first marauders in history. It was like 1100.
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay, actually, so yeah, quite a bit after the Schism War. No, that would be
Hibernian tribunal here.
Sorry?
It was the Tribunal of Hibernia here, and
Okay, well, we
I don't know.
could get a date for that. Every 7 years.
I'm not sure, but I'm not sure where it was. I don't know that it was in Dublin. Anyways, I want to go find where the chantry that got destroyed was.
Well, the chantry that got destroyed was which. Oh, the one it attacked. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, they completely wiped it out.
Okay. So it's not. So it is at least vaguely possible that sarcophagus contained a chantry destroyer marauder.
I suppose it's possible.
Right. Okay. That would be a good reason why you need to make sure that doesn't get opened. But I mean, that does fit the idea. It's a clearly human-sized sarcophagus. If it was a spirit, it could be any object, couldn't it? And
It could also be a lich.
a lich, well, it could be, yeah, or yes, or somebody similar from another tradition. I think the Scots had a tradition which did that, didn't they? Well, that's how Xmas was founded. Fighting a great Scottish lich. But possible if they didn't know how to destroy it properly. I did vaguely wonder if it could even be a Tremere.
Suppose it could be.
But
I mean, there's someone else who could actually ask, but depending how worried you are, or rather, I can ask him.
Well, I mean, I think the first step is just a cursory examination to see is that enacting magic on it or not.
I guarantee you there is something magic within it.
But we should probably check that first before we start unduly panicking and bothering important people.
That's probably true.
Yes, I'm expecting there will be simply because of firstly the Inoki, and secondly, it's clearly in a place where it shouldn't have been. It was clearly put in that place far after that place was originally used.
Anyways, I think we should call it a night. It's getting pretty late. I need to go to sleep.
Yes. Well, it's been good to speak to you again, Rory. I mean, I hope it comes across. I do have a lot of respect for you, and I do admire what you do. And I think we don't disagree as much as you might be imagining.
I don't really think about it much either way.
And hopefully, at least you now know that what happened to Yuki and Faust and that little escapade.
I feel bad for Yuki. I'll miss her.
I did. I wanted a full and open trial, but I didn't necessarily seek the outcome we got.
I mean,
it was noted that she acted with the best of intentions, and she had not accepted any further investments in her. She simply did it for what she thought was the good of the city.
Yeah,
because it turned out to be a far more damaging implications for the world if we hadn't stopped it. But I didn't know her well. I did explicitly offer to defend her. I know you asked me to do that.
I appreciate that.
And when what would have been a trial, shall we say, when the meeting happened, I did speak up in her defence as a person present. And I did, as I say, utterly condemn the attempts to create a show trial.
Yeah.
But still, well, let's try and have a meeting with the other active hermetics and take things forward from there. Okay, thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watching. Another episode of Darkness in Dublin.